Welcome to another lecture in business communication. Today we are going to continue with chapter 9. So we are going to look at audio visual aids today. So let's look at today's learning outcomes. So I said that we are going to define visual aids. We are also going to look at the reasons to use visual aids as well as the tips for using visual aids. So what is visual aids? So what is audio visual aids? So you say that visual aids are those items which make use of pictures or visual images, including the written words, in support of an oral presentation. And audio aids, increasingly music or sound effects can be used to add impact to a presentation, and some combine visual and audio such as a video. And if you combine the visual aids and the audio aids, they become audio visual aids. So mostly all the things that we use to back up our presentation, the PowerPoint or slides, the projector, or maybe a phone, or video, graphs, sketches, and all those ones. Anything that you can actually use and can be seen or heard when you are presenting, or to back up your presentation, we call it video. We call it audio visual aids. But so let's look at the reasons to use visual aids. So you're saying that it improves audience understanding and memory. When you're actually talking and the audience has something to look to or to listen to, it actually improves their understanding. So if you're actually talking about audio visual aids and you're presenting some you with your But if you are actually talking about visual aids, and when you are presenting, we have slides, we have picture of visual aids, it actually helps the audience to understand and to keep your presentation in their memory. Saves as notes, especially for slides. It actually is there physically as notes and so on. Mostly you don't, your audience don't have to take the notes and so on. That's why mostly in class you just listen, you have already your notes and so on. So visual aids are also used as notes. Provides a clear organization. It actually helps you to organize your work or your presentation, like your PowerPoint or slides. It helps you to have an organized presentation that can actually be understood and is clear to your audience. Facilitates more eye contact and motion by the speaker. It helps that eye contact, or it helps that motion when the speaker or the presenter is talking and the audience are able to, at the same time, listen and have eye contact with the presenter. It contributes to speaker credibility. Right, so let's look at the tips for using visual aids. So the first one, I think, they stand to the side of the visual aids. And traditionally, speakers are supposed to stand or to have their visual aids on their left. This will help you to actually, especially if you are presenting the PowerPoint, your slide or projector, they should be on your. So you're saying that do not stand in front of your visual aids, or do not obscure your visual aids. So mostly just stand on the side. Right. Then the second one is maintaining eye contact. So we are saying that while the visual aid will be tempting to many speakers, the audience should still be your focus. So do not give the back to your audience. Right. The next one is introduce a visual aid before talking about the information contained in it. So what we are saying is giving a background on where the information for the visual aid was obtained from provides an audience with those resources for understanding the content of your speech. Do not just start using your visual aids without that background information and how it links to your presentation. Um, Practice with a visual aid. So you're saying that the visual aids, right? So you're saying that the visual aids adds an additional focus for the audience, and the speaker should be able to effectively and smoothly interact with the aid to maintain distractions. So you have to make sure that you are you are able to maintain distraction and not just allowing your audience to have more focus on your audience and not what you are talking. So you have to maintain that. Right. Make sure the visual aid supports the message, right? So there should be a link between your visual aids as well as your message that you are talking. If you are talking of visual aids, you should have pictures of visual aids, not other type of pictures and so on. There should be a link, like the visual aids should support your message. Then supplement and do not supplant the speech with a visual aid. So you're saying that do not allow the visual aid to overwhelm the speech itself. Visual aids are not clunches to lean on, but right, but rather lampposts to illuminate. So what you're saying is the visual aid should be an additional something, not the main uh, focus. Don't let your visual aids overtake your presentation. So the main focus should be on your presentation and what you are saying, but not on the visual aids. Right, and ensure the logistics of the setting are conducive to the visual aids. So ensure that when you are going to present, it supports the type of visual aid that you are using. So let's say if you want to use a projector, I mean you can only use a projector at a place where there's not internet, where there's electricity and so on. So if you need a picture, I mean they should the visual aid that you are using should be supported by the logistic or by the place, the setting where you are going to do your presentation. You cannot go with a projector at a place where there's no electricity and so on. Right. Point out the key elements in the visual aid, especially if it is complicated. So mostly you'll find that let's say maybe the pictures, the charts, the graphs, and some objects are often so complex and with so much going on that the audience might need to be directed on the area of the visual aid that the speaker is referencing to. So make sure that you actually point out the key elements of your visual aids, especially to some of those things that are complicated and so on, like the graphs. Some people they don't even know how to read graphs and so on. So you have to make sure that you enlighten your audience. Right, so avoid distributing materials during the speech. So if there are any materials that you need to distribute to your audience, make sure that you do that before or after, because if you are doing it during your speech, it will disturb and distract the whole process. And limit lists. So we are saying that if the visual aid utilizes lists to communicate the central idea of the speech, do not overwhelm the audience with endless list on the slide or page. Like if there's so many things that are going on your let's say your slide or video and so on. So you can just mention few because your audience will be already looking at that. They might already have analyzed the situation and so on. So if you are, let's say, providing examples, pictures, and so on, you cannot just have a full list that you are discussing with your audience. So make sure that you limit the list of things that are on your slides and so on. Remember that simplicity is a good um, design principle. So you're saying that do not overload your visual aid with unnecessary information, color, font changes, and so many images and so on. Be simple and on point. Right, so this will take us to the end of our lesson today. I hope you have enjoyed the lesson, and if you have any question, do not hesitate to contact me. I'll see you guys in our next lesson.